Today, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to take the world map you learned in school and pretty much tear it to pieces. Forget the 193 countries. We're going to uncover a hidden map, one based on massive cultural supercommunities, civilizations that have been shaping our history for centuries and are absolutely defining our future right now.
Okay, so let's dive right in. And we're not going to start with some dry academic theory. No, we're starting with a brutal, shocking moment in history that perfectly sets the stage for everything we're about to talk about.
I want you to picture this. It's 1898. We're in a place called Omdurman in Sudan. A relatively small British-led force is staring down a massive local army. I mean, on paper, this looks like an impossible fight for the invaders.
Just look at these numbers. The imbalance is staggering. On one side, you have more than 50,000 warriors armed with swords and spears. On the other, a much smaller, foreign-led army. But here's the thing. The crucial difference wasn't the number of soldiers. It was the tools they brought to the fight.
And in just a few hours, it was a complete massacre. 20,000 Sudanese soldiers were killed. Tens of thousands more were wounded. The scale of this loss is it's hard to even comprehend.
Now, here's the number that tells the real story. The British side, they lost only 48 men. 48. This wasn't a battle. It was a one-sided slaughter, made possible by a weapon that could fire 500 rounds a minute.
So how on earth is this possible? Was it just about the gun, or was that machine gun a symptom of something much, much deeper? You see, this wasn't just a clash of armies. This was a clash between two entirely different worlds, two different civilizations.
And that violent clash out in the desert, it's actually the key to a powerful idea. One that completely reshapes how we understand everything from global conflict to global cooperation.
So, fast forward to 1993. The Cold War's over, and a lot of people are celebrating the end of history. But political scientist Samuel Huntington had a very different take. He basically said, hold on, the great conflicts aren't over. They're just changing. He argued the new fault lines wouldn't be between nations, but between these vast cultural blocks.
So what exactly is a civilization? Well, think of it like a cultural supercontinent. It's the highest level of identity that people have. You might be French or Spanish, but you're also part of something much bigger, Western civilization. These are the deep, powerful currents of history that flow beneath the surface of nations.
Okay, so this is the map we all know, right? The one from our classrooms. It's a neat and tidy jigsaw puzzle of 19 countries, each with its own borders and its own government. This is the political layer of our world.
But Huntington's map shows us a totally different reality. He argued that just beneath that political surface, there are about 9 massive civilizations that are the real players on the world stage. We're talking Western, Orthodox, Cynic, Islamic, and so on. These are the tectonic plates of human history.
So you have to ask, what is it that holds these enormous groups together? What are the invisible threads that can weave billions of people into a single cultural identity, one that can last for thousands of years?
Well, when you boil it all down, it comes back to 3 fundamental things. The land you live on, the language you think in, and the tools you can create. These are the basic building blocks of any civilization. Let's start with geography, because it's fascinating. Just look at how rivers shaped 2 of the world's very first civilizations. In Egypt, you have the calm, predictable Nile. It acted like a natural fortress, leading to a single, unified culture that was amazing at organization and big construction projects. Meanwhile, over in Mesopotamia, the chaotic Tigris and Euphrates rivers created constant competition between warring city-states, and that gave rise to a culture of conflict, innovation, and trade.
Next up, language. And this is about so much more than just words. It literally shapes our reality. So let's try a little test. A simple riddle that's common in the Russian-speaking world. Without windows, without doors, a room full of people.
Now, if you asked a computer or someone from outside that culture, they might get really confused. They might picture a crowded elevator or something. But for hundreds of millions of people, the answer is just instantly obvious.
It's a cucumber. The people are the seeds inside. See, that only makes sense if you share a specific cultural and linguistic background. Language isn't just words, it's a whole shared universe of meaning and understanding.
And finally, tools. Which brings us right back to that battlefield in Sudan. For centuries, Western civilization was defined by this cult of progress that just relentlessly churned out more and more powerful technology, especially weapons. From the revolver to the atomic bomb to today's drones, this technological edge has been a really decisive factor in world history.
Okay, so how did these core threads, geography, language, and tools, translate to actual power in the 21st century? Well, the argument is that for a civilization to survive and thrive today, it needs to build its house on 4 key pillars.
And you can see this playing out in real time right now. The major civilizations are all trying to construct their own pillars of power. The West has the military muscle of NATO and the economic gravity of the dollar and the euro. And in response, you see others building their own frameworks, like the Orthodox World CSTO Alliance or the Cynic Civilization's absolutely massive Belt and Road Initiative. The lines of competition are being drawn very clearly.
So, where is all this heading? What does it mean for our future? Well, the most crucial thing to understand is that the world's center of gravity, demographically and economically, is going through a seismic shift.
Think about this for a second. Back in 1900, 1 out of every 4 people on this entire planet was European. That demographic weight translated directly into global power. It was immense.
Now, let's hit the fast-forward button to 2050. Projections show Europe's share of the world's population shrinking to just 7%. Meanwhile, Africa's is set to surge to over 25%. And Asia will be home to way over half of all humanity. This isn't just a change in numbers, people. This is a fundamental redistribution of global power.
And this is where Huntington's theory gets, well, kind of spooky with its accuracy. He predicted that the world's most dangerous conflicts would erupt on these fault lines, right where these civilizations meet and grind up against each other. And when you look at today's hotspots, from Ukraine to Israel-Palestine, it's really hard to argue with the predictive power of this idea.
So this leaves all of us with a really profound question. As the world rebalances and new centers of power continue to rise, are we going to find a way for these immense cultural worlds to coexist? Or is the clash of civilizations an unavoidable part of our future? That right there might just be the defining question of our time.